Hola amigos and welcome back to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host Matthew Human here on location this week just across the street at Alegria Village, our neighboring community. And my guest this week is Nzinga Hatch. Nzinga is a martial artist and sensei of kaju kenbo. We're going to find out what that means. She is a painter, a mother, and a queer African-American woman living here in the Machuca Valley. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. We hope you enjoy. This episode of La Vida Verde podcast is sponsored by Guillaume Cellier, with masterful hands offering instant relief. Your personalized massage at home. Nzinga Hatch.
Hey.
Welcome to La Vida Verde podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you. Okay, first I want to just go ahead and just tell me, what does Nzinga mean? Does it have a significance?
Yeah. It does. It does. Nzinga, it's an African name, and it's from Angola. And Nzinga, Queen Nzinga was known as the warrior queen. So when the Portuguese came to colonize Angola, she was one of the leaders of the resistance in the 1700s. So my mom chose that name for me.
Whoa, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, no pressure. So, but yeah, and it also just means beautiful. The actual word means beautiful.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So the beautiful queen was the resistance.
With the warrior queen.
The
She was
warrior, beautiful warrior queen.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, hey,
Yeah,
you do
yeah.
good. You do good.
I'll work with that.
That's so cool. I never thought. I was like, it's probably got some like family significance or something, but that's really cool. Okay, now I will never not see you as a beautiful warrior queen. And you are one of the first residents here in Alegria. We're in Alegria right now, which is right across the street from Vida Verde, the community. We've talked about it many times. Stephen Brooks was one of the co-founders, and you and your wife bought together.
We did.
And
we bought Slade about 2.5 years ago. We came here during the pandemic, and we stayed in La Ecovilla, which is the other neighboring community. And then we stayed for 7 months. And the very last week, we said, let's take a look at this Alegria place. Kind of fell in love with it. There weren't any roads or anything. And we decided we wanted a place, but everything at that point was pretty much sold out or kind of not in our range. So we went back home. They said, hey, that lot's available. We sold all our stuff, put our shit in storage, and came here. So yeah.
What brought you down here in the first place?
Well,
because you were in Oakland before. I was
been living in Oakland for about 25 years with my wife Pia, and then we had a little daughter, and then there was a pandemic, and we had a little condo. So we had 800 square feet, and we were in this little, space with this little baby, and we were like, oh my goodness, locked down. So by chance, one of our colleagues, Pia's colleagues, my wife's colleagues, said, hey, we have this place in Ecovilla. You guys want to come over? No one's flying. We said, yeah.
Who was it?
Her name is Susan Lubeck, and she lives in Ecovilla in Casa Azul, Casa number 8, the blue house. And so we stayed there. We only were going to stay for 3 weeks, and then 4 weeks, and again, extended to 7 months because we kind of fell in love with it. It was so easy, and easy to fall in love with. So yeah, that's what brought us here.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So she was a coworker of Pia.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
She was a coworker.
And this is like, I don't want to, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't think to ask this question, but your daughter, you're both women.
Yeah.
Was she one of yours coming into it, or?
Oh no.
You adopted?
We intentionally had our daughter together. And you have to be intentional if you're two women having a child. So
what is that? What do you mean by that?
Well, there's no man involved per se. If you're not going to accidentally have a baby, if you're
right. Okay. Yeah. I see what I see.
You're not going to accidentally.
You have to
try for it.
Right,
yeah, you have to plan for it and all that. Exactly. And so we did all of that, and we were blessed with Lala, our daughter. She's 5 years old now, and Pierce carried Lala. She's her birth mom.
Okay.
We're both her moms.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. She's super sweet too.
Yeah.
So, okay, I see. Okay.
Yep.
I'm working it out in my head.
Yeah, everybody's like that. All working it out in their head.
Wow. Well, no, it's cool. It's like we live in this time when fortunately we don't have to like, we can talk about these things
Yeah.
in public and like not be weird about it. So
Yeah. We can still be weird about it.
does it make you feel
but
weird ever, like talking about it?
Not really. It just, you got to have your boundaries. She's a 5-year-old girl.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
She's
we don't
going to
want-
school here, and it's
Okay.
her world more than my world. Because
Right.
she's having her own experience. But we love being here. We came from a place in Oakland where there's a lot of 2-mom families with kids. I mean, tons. I think per capita is the highest queer women families in the world.
Wow.
Oakland. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we came here and we knew we were going to kind of be on our own, but we thought it was worth it because there's so much here to love, and so much safety, so much psychological safety, so much beauty, so much space, just to be
Have you found that to be like,
true.
yeah.
I think it
That
is
was the-
true.
that was the
Yeah, that
ideal.
was the idea. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm African American, so people of African descent have lots of different stories. So there are other African Americans or African folks of African descent here that are not necessarily American.
Right.
Right. So we all have our own ways of being in a culture, and you would think, hey, well, you're black and I'm black, let's kick it. But it's not necessarily like that because
No.
I'm not this and you're not that. But it's nice that we do have more people of African descent living here in Alegria now, which is kind of nice. There's not that many. There's no one like me exactly, but that's true all the time. Even
Yeah.
in Oakland,
No, of
I'm the
course.
one and only me, and everybody else is too. So that's all good.
Well, that's the reality. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, that's the way I see it. Is like, I mean, yeah, you could change that to, well, we're white, so we should
Right.
hang out. But
Yeah.
it's like, I don't really want to
Right.
hang out with
Yeah.
this guy. You know?
Right, exactly.
Or we don't have that in common.
Right.
But I understand. I could see like being, I guess you could say a minority here because there's not a whole lot of black folks here.
No, there's
Like,
not.
why you would maybe there would be a natural desire to kind of
Right.
connect or gravitate.
Right. I mean, because I think if you're African American, you have a specific story that people think, at least they think they know what it is, right? It's familiarity. But, here in Alegria, there's people who came here for a specific purpose. So that makes it different because it's really very diverse in a way of everyone's from somewhere else. So I might have my hang-ups or my stuff that I want to project on people, but like we had this incident where a car accidentally drove into our front of our house, right? And I'm like, okay.
Maybe just take a second and describe it. So
we
car
built
just
a beautiful house home here in Alegria. It's finished. We worked with some great folks in Connecta, and we were all finished. We were like, so proud and so happy and settling in. And then all of a sudden, someone, their house, they accidentally crashed into the front of our house, And I'm like, oh man, I wasn't expecting that. It was really shocking, right? But here's the thing, everybody in this community came to check on us. I mean, I think there might have been, 15 or 16 people. So I don't know if you're going to find that everywhere.
It's a really beautiful thing. I love this.
So that part is cool.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. That's what we're in community. I mean, I think you're right. People are coming here for that purpose of connecting and being around,
or they're coming here not necessarily to connect, but they're they're coming here to have something for themselves, whatever that thing is. And so if all of us are doing that, then we can understand how people might want space or not want space. I don't think that I expected it to be so white. I didn't expect that.
You're right.
I was like, oh, I'm going to Costa Rica. Oh, wow, there's a lot of white people here. I did not expect that.
Right.
And then when I talked to people that I knew, this part of Costa Rica on the Pacific side is where a lot of people of European descent come. So it is what it is. I mean, I think for me, it can get lonely, but the things that I'm doing here in the community help me feel a part of it, like with the martial arts classes and stuff like that. So I've kind of put my own personal joys in practice here, which helps me be me.
Right. Because Oakland is a very black community. I think it's probably
it's
majority, isn't it?
It's
maybe not anymore.
I don't think it is anymore, but it's thought to be
was.
a very black community. And I'm not originally from Oakland, so
Right.
yeah. But there's times when you go to it's black, and there's also a lot of queer people. So when I go to the neighborhood neighborhood store, there's going to be someone who looks like me and acts like me and has a daughter like I do with another woman. So that's going to happen.
Yeah, wow.
And that's not going to happen
That's
here.
so interesting.
It's very, very. It's not like so common, but it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty common. Yeah.
And you didn't grow up there. So you grew up in Roxbury,
I grew up
Massachusetts,
in
Boston
Roxbury
area.
in Boston, and I'm 57 years old.
Okay.
So I've been around for a while.
So-
I know I look good.
You
I know I
age
look
good. You age good.
Well, that's the other reason I came here. Everybody wants to age well, right? Everybody here is trying to eat well. They're trying to, farm. They're trying to stay in shape. They're trying to be around. All of those things appeal to me as a person, as a martial artist. And I grew up in Boston. And I said my age, not because I'm trying to say how old I am, because I'm not. But at that time, it was a lot more segregated than it is.
Right.
So
what years would that have been like?
well, I mean, I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So,
Oh, yeah.
growing up as a kid in that time, I was, exposed to a lot of, racism, essentially, right?
Even in Boston, you would think it not so much in the north.
I mean,
but-
Boston is notoriously supposed to be kind of racial.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
Right, it's
even though
very-
there's a lot of progressive politics.
It's very divided.
Yeah,
There's like
so-
you got Dorchester.
yeah,
like,
exactly,
there's
yeah,
I remember I drove
exactly.
through like you're in Milton. Because I stayed in Milton, but I was right on the border, and then I
Right.
drove down to Dorchester, and it's kind of like the same way I feel like driving between like New York City and Orange, New Jersey, which is
Yeah.
like New York City is very like Manhattan, very like white, and then you get down to right across the border in New Jersey in Newark.
Right.
It's like a very black community.
Right.
It's almost like a different way
Yeah.
of culture.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if Boston is like that anymore because I don't
Dorchester
live there.
Dorchester still
But
was last
yeah,
time I was there.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like because I am an American, right? I feel like I was sitting with someone who was Tika, and they said, Americans are just so obsessed with race, and I had to pause because I really wanted to hear that. What do you mean? And I think it's true, So being here,
Yeah.
even though there's not as many African Americans here, I do have a break from like being policed by the
Right.
cops. The
Oh,
police the police are different. They don't
Way
follow
different
you.
here.
They don't think you're up to no good. That kind of stuff has been really healing for me to be here in that respect.
Man, I kind of done. Yeah, I have been here long enough that I've almost like I think about it, still pops into my head because even for me, like obviously I'm not a black woman, but like the police they'll. In the U.S., they're just as much trying to get me,
Yeah.
I feel, most of the time. Probably
Yeah.
not quite as much. But,
Yeah.
The reality is I don't ever feel safe, like, with police in the U.S. My heart races when I go
Right.
past a police car. That doesn't
Exactly.
happen
Yeah,
here.
it doesn't happen here.
They're
Yeah.
super chill.
And, even though, there's not, like you said, there's not that many African Americans here yet.
Uh-huh.
But that's a big win for me personally.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel that's that's one of the reasons I came.
Yeah. Well, and there we got a couple more African British coming in now with George.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
more and more hopefully. And you've even spent time up in like Atenas. There's a lot of
Yeah,
black
there
expats
are.
in
There
Atenas.
are.
There's a whole
There
like
are. There are.
community.
That is
there.
actually very true. I consider that, but I love.
No, we don't want you
Alegria.
to leave. No,
yeah,
no,
no,
don't
no,
get me
yeah,
wrong.
No, yeah, no, yeah, no.
Just if you get
No, I'm
like-
invested here. I'm invested here, and it's all
right.
what it is. So.
All right, well, let's forget about like the race thing because
Okay.
that doesn't matter, whatever. But tell me about martial arts because you are
Yeah, I'm a martial artist. And
Kaju
there's quite a
kenbo.
kaju kenbo.
What is that?
Kaju kenbo is karate, judo, kempo, and Chinese boxing. It's about 75 years old, and it started in like Hawaii with some Filipino and Hawaii. Hawaii. With some Filipino and practitioners and Hawaiian practitioners, and then the lineage has come. It's very popular on the West Coast of California.
Is that where you started?
And that's where I started. I started as a kid in Boston with another art, and I got a black
Okay.
belt, and I was really engaged. Very similar to the kids here. So all we did is train and do martial arts, and I got my black belt as a kid, and I was a national champion.
Wow,
and I did
you were?
all the- yeah,
You were a
literally.
national champion?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, as a kid, and then I kind of left it, and I went back to it in my 40s, and I've been training in that, since, I don't know, for the last 10 years. And I'm not a black belt in that one, but I'm a senior practitioner and I'm training for my brown belt. So one of the reasons that I love being here at Alegria is now we have an adult class that's Tai Chi and Kaju Kenbo. It's, on Thursdays at 10. And then we have kids on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we're all training together, and they're growing. And some of the kids have been with us 2 years.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. We have the guest instructors, and we're going to have a black belt retreat here. It's gonna be
What does that mean?
dope.
What does a black belt retreat look like?
Well, the homeschool hand-to-hand Kaju Kenbo Self-Defense Center in Oakland is going to come here. The black belts are going to come here to train and train with our students and make sure the lineage stays intact. So that's really exciting for us.
Wow, yeah. Okay, so it's a whole... I never think of Hawaii when I think of martial arts. But
I know, but we have a lot of stick fighting. They call it arnis, or kali. It's both. And that's one of the things that we do.
And your wife, Pia, is Filipina, right?
My wife, Pia, is Filipina.
So did that have anything to do with that?
It did not have anything to do with it. No, just a coincidence. But, per capita in the Bay Area is the largest population of Filipinos outside of the Philippines. Is in the Bay Area in Oakland, or in and around Oakland.
Interesting.
So we met there. We've been married for 10 years. We've been together for 20 years. We're like legit long time.
Did you get married as soon as it was possible, or were you waiting on that?
That's a good question. No, we weren't waiting. It had happened. That marriage was legal, and we just happened to be ready to get married, so we went forward with it.
I was living in Mendocino in a house with queer women at the time when that happened, so I kind of remember how
it was a big deal.
Whoa, that was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. And my mother was a queer woman of color too, and she did
no
not
way.
Yeah, she did not have that option. So it's been amazing. Excuse me.
That's okay.
It's been amazing for us. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really the legal protections. I didn't have to get married, but there are some protections that we benefit from that we did not if we were not. Taxes and also protection for our daughter. Stuff like that.
Like if something happens, you can be the even though she's the biological mother, you're still
right. Exactly.
Something can
exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh. Okay, and you mentioned so the karate. That's kind of your main thing in the community right now.
I think so. I think that's where I've really been able to
or
show
not karate.
Kaju Kenbo.
Kaju Kenbo.
Yeah, it's Kaju
Sorry.
Kenbo. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And we've done some demonstrations here in our monthly, we have a belt test and all the community participates, and it's really lovely. And
if people want to sign up for classes, do you have spaces available?
Yeah, we have spaces available. You have Tai Chi once a month with our adult class, and I think that's a great intro because it suits that blue zone thing where there's a lot of people here trying to live long.
You're right.
And Tai Chi can be helpful in that respect as a practice.
Right.
So once a month we do that.
And Tai Chi, just for people who are totally never heard,
Tai Chi is Tai Chi is really slow, intentional movement, and it's funny that it's very slow and it is very intentional. It's quite beautiful, and you're really having kind of a standing, moving meditation. So when it comes to sparring at fast speeds, because you're so present, you've practiced presence so long, you're actually really fast when it comes to the real deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Wax on.
Yes,
wax
my
off.
friend. Exactly.
Okay. Okay, and so if people want to sign up, they can reach you.
Yeah, you can reach me on Instagram. Nzinga Hatch at Instagram.
Nzinga Hatch at Instagram. We'll put that on the thing. Mm-hmm. And you sent me, this is something I didn't know about you until this morning, but I was asking you, okay, tell me, do you have any bio? And you sent me your painting website.
Yeah,
so you're a painter.
I'm a painter, and I've been painting for a long time. Just off and on. I'm not trained. I just kind of self-taught, but I paint a lot with a lot of color. I paint with a lot of inspiration from ancestors. So things are just revealed. I just sit there and be like, oh, this is what's happening, and this is what's coming out. And people have said, that's pretty cool. You should do. You should get the website. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's not.
So I finally have.
Get the website and all that.
Yeah, I finally made a business out of it, and I'm really proud of it. But it's super vulnerable, put your heart out there. But I tell you, one of the things because I think one of the things we talked about before you reached out to me is something about what does it feel like to be, just African American queer here in Alegria, and it feels good, but you do feel a little isolated. You know, you do. And so what has happened with that feeling is that I've really dived into the things that I care about. So if I didn't have martial arts and I didn't have painting here, I'm not sure, you know, where I would fit in. I don't know if I would feel here, you know, and I don't know if I would feel grounded. So, you know, it always comes back to, you know, doing what your authentic self is willing and wanting to do, just like the things that you do, the way you're living. That's what you are. That's who you are. Everybody knows who you are. You're not pretending to be some other dude. You know what I mean? Are you?
No,
I didn't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So for me, even though I might be the only might be the only one like me, I have used it to my advantage to deepen my own practices.
Okay, well, good. That's one way to, like, yeah, I mean, this place definitely, especially this time of year when there's less people here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, were you here? You were here last dry season, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, there were more people.
There's a lot more people in the dry season. There's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
The rainy season here, it's like our winter. It's
Totally.
like our, like, you know, like, especially October, which is, I think it's interesting because in the U.S. in October, it's also like kind of like
internal.
The weather's changing. You're starting to go inside more, and it's the same here. And I kind of like that because it is a little bit comforting. Like like it kind of makes the Halloween spooky season feel more like real.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I start thinking about Christmas, and I'm like, oh, like
I do kind of miss Thanksgiving a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah, I
Why?
love Thanksgiving. Well, because you get all the stuff for Christmas, but you don't have to buy anybody any presents. You know what I mean? You just
I guess you have a kid, so
yeah.
I stopped buying people presents.
You're like,
I'm
the
like,
hell with that.
My
I don't
presents
need-
is
it's
your
me.
present, pal.
Fair enough.
Okay, so in the painting, it's beautiful. We'll post some pictures. You sent us some pictures to put in there. Very colorful. I love it. And I also I was reading your site, and you said that there's a feeling of relief you get when something finally, it's like almost like something, people talk about this as an artist, like a songwriter. I'm a songwriter, but as an artist or a painter, like when something wants to come through and you're not exactly sure what it was, and then it starts to like take form.
It's pretty cool. There's nothing was there, but you've had that impulse and.
Yeah, you didn't know what it was gonna be, but there was something that.
Right. It revealed. It's like it's out there now. This feels pretty great.
And so we'll post your link to your paintings
thank you.
if you want to support Nzinga and check out her amazing. And so, what do you sell? Like, do you sell?
Yeah, there are prints for sale on the site. You know, you can make the paintings into mugs and tote bags and all kinds of stuff. But
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we're in a good time for online art.
Right on. I know, it finally caught up, right? It's like, for real.
Finally, things are starting to get a little easier. And what? Okay, last question. What are you excited about for Alegria for the future? Like, is there anything you'd like to see change, or you're excited
that's a
about
good question.
growing? Because this community is about 1/3 here right now.
I know. Wow.
And we're sitting in the Hive, by the way. This is the community center of the community.
Yeah.
So there's nobody here.
Right now, but there are sometimes some people.
Tabo.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's really coming together. I think it's really organic. I think people are attracting other people that are like-minded. I feel like that will continue. I hope that we, can just get more. Like for me, like sometimes I don't even look at the chats.
Yeah.
I don't really look at that stuff. So get more involved with planting.
Trust me.
And stuff like that. I know. So, I don't know. I just want people to want to be here. If you want to be here, and if that's your intention, then you'll be your best self, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else you want to shout out? Anyone?
I want to
anything?
shout out my students, Kai and Noah. And
man, I love those kids.
They are so great. They're inspirational. And the adults is Chris and Patty and Linda, and we're just here training and trying to develop ourselves in a good way.
I can hear you guys doing the karate here, or
Kaju
kenbo. Excuse me. That'll take a minute. I can hear you guys sometimes from my house. I hear whatever
whatever it is. Yeah, come in haya with us anytime you want.
Okay.
Anytime.
Maybe I will. I could use some It's embodying.
Yeah,
It's like some people
is.
dance, and karate is just another way of or kaju kenbo.
Yeah.
It's just
Getting the
another way
spirit
of
in your body
embodying.
and
Yeah.
moving. Yeah, it's all good.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
And Nzinga Hatch.
Appreciate
it's a
you,
pleasure.
bro. Appreciate
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, this is La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human. We release episodes every Tuesday. My guest today was Nzinga Hatch. I want to say thank you to Guillaume Cellier for sponsoring this week's podcast. He is a massage therapist offering pain-free relief at home, a most exclusive massage experience. I had a massage with him actually yesterday, and man, it was so good. I want to totally recommend him. He does this, I can't remember the name of the style. It's this Japanese style that is just, I always feel so calm and peaceful when he leaves. And also, if you mention this podcast, he'll give you 10% off. So let him know that you heard about him here. Get 10% off. Want to say thank you to EcoTeas for keeping me charged through the podcast. Patreon, if you want to support this episode, please go check out Patreon, patreon.com/La Vida Verde podcast. For $5, it goes a long way towards keeping this going. We love doing these episodes. We love going on location like this. You can check us out on Instagram at Finca Vida Verde CR. We're on YouTube. We already mentioned YouTube. On Instagram, we're on Facebook, Finca Vida Verde. And the website is under construction, fincavidaverde.com. But we'll get that up and running here again soon. We'll see you again with another great episode. Pura vida. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.